Hey everybody. Just as we're getting started, we'll get started officially in a minute or two, but feel free to unmute or type in chat to introduce yourself. I see a lot of familiar faces, so many of you know, but these are informal peer-to-peer conversations. We'd love to hear from any of you about what you're working on, what's going on in your libraries. Today we have the dream team behind the Rocket Labs at the Central Arkansas Library System here today. So Nathan, Leah, and Benito, and they'll be sharing with us in a minute, but we still have plenty of time for announcements and updates from others as well. So as people are coming in, if anyone has anything to share, please do so. Hey Carly, hey Sarah, hey Lauren, hey Sam, hi Rosalind. We're just getting started, so if anyone wants to share an update or announcement, feel free to unmute or type in the chat. Hey Lucas. Hey.
Hello.
Anybody have any announcements or updates to share? What's going on in your library?
I don't really have an announcement or an update. I just wanted to say Little Rock represent, Little Rock Central High, class of 83 here. So I'm very excited to hear from fellow Arkansans today.
Cool. Cool.
Actually, one of our board members was the principal at Central for many years. She's just followed the board, Nancy Rousseau. She's wonderful.
I understand she is a lovely person. She's after my time, unfortunately.
Yeah, fabulous. She's a fabulous person.
Hey Camry, hey Emily. Anybody else have updates or announcements, things they want to share as we're getting started? Well, most of you know, but this is the Libraries Build Business peer community discussion. This is the October one. We do this every month, just kind of on an informal basis to share peer-to-peer, to get inspiration, share resources. We typically have a featured guest of each conversation to kind of lead us and facilitate conversation. Today we have the Central Arkansas Library System. Leah, Nathan, and Benito are here to tell us about their program, the Rocket Lab. I'm really excited about that. I have a few announcements as well, but I would still love to call on any of you to share anything before we get started officially. Thanks for joining. Hey, there's Atlas. Hey, Matt. Oh, Yasmin's here from the Carnegie Mellon University. Cool. Oh, awesome. She wants to know about us. Awesome. Okay. Oh, yay, Diane's here. Hey, Diane. Well, if no one else has announcements, I'll get started with a few. If you are on our Slack discussion board, you might have seen this already, but American Library Association was contacted by a group called VIA3 about this new platform that they are piloting to help. It's like fully HIPAA compliant. It's great for virtual meetings. It is something that they're hoping to test out with libraries who are either using it for like their small business and entrepreneurship program, or maybe with telehealth appointments. or any kind of other like meeting needs in your library. If you're interested in that, the information is on the Slack board, or you can reach out to me as well and I can put you in touch. But they're looking for like a group of libraries to pilot that, and they would give you, I don't know, at least 6 months of free access to their system, to kind of test that out and give them feedback on how it works and what you think of it. So Elizabeth, that sounds interesting. It's on Slack, but let me see if I can just pull up the link again real quick, and share that. Here's the PDF. Hopefully that works, but it's also on Slack, and you can send me a note and I will connect you as well if you're interested in that. So that's something going on. If people are interested in that for your libraries, like I said, they asked me to, they think it would be a great use for small business and entrepreneurship programs for people to hold virtual meetings and kind of conduct some of their business, but they also mentioned it would be good for things like telehealth, other kinds of virtual appointments and things that people might have. So, so keep that in mind. A couple of other things, LibLearnX registration, ALA's LibLearnX, that's what Midwinter used to be. The registration is now open if people are interested in going to that. It's in New Orleans at the end of January. So I'd love to see people there. I'm planning to be there. We're thinking Libraries Build Business will have a session, and it'll be like a workshop where we can kind of collaborate and work together. Because LibLearnX is supposed to be more like hands-on than a traditional conference. So if you're interested in that, be in touch and I can send you the updates when I know them, but that's kind of the idea there. I mentioned this before, but the ELC, the Entrepreneurship and Librarians Conference International, is coming up. That's November 1st and 2nd. That's a free virtual conference. So if you're interested in connecting with librarians around the world who are working on small business initiatives, I would recommend signing up for that. I've been part of their planning committee, and it's a great group of people with a number of different countries represented, including Iran and Kenya and a lot of others that I can't think of right now, of course, but an interesting group of people. Yes, Emily says, is there a link for that? I will put up a link for that in just a second. Thank you. What else? I think those were all my announcements. Does anyone else have announcements or any updates on their programs or things they're working on they want to share? And thank you. Amanda shared the ELC link, so that is the link there. Yeah. There's Andrea. Hey, Andrea. Okay, well, everybody's quiet today. Well, I'm going to turn it over to Nathan, Leah, and Benito. They are our guests today. They're going to share about their Rocket Labs program at the Central Arkansas Library System.
All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for having us. Can you all hear me okay? Okay, fantastic. I'm not sure, Benito, if you wanted to say something before I kind of jump into the presentation. All right. And I know Nathan has already shared quite a bit about our program. Yeah. So did you want to say something, Nathan?
I was going to say, they're the people that know everything. So this is the magic, as he said. I'm not the magic, they're the magic.
So thank you all again for having us. I'm going to share my screen really quickly. We have just a quick slide presentation that'll kind of help me stay on task because I have a tendency to ramble a bit, and that'll kind of give you all an understanding of what we do here at the Rocket Lab and why we do what we do. So if it's okay, I'm going to share my screen. So I'm going to share it from a PDF, and so hoping that will be okay. Let's actually do it like this. Let's see what it shares. Can you all see the presentation? It's kind of weird on the screen though, right?
maybe a little too
Yeah.
big.
Is it full
How's that?
screen or there we go. That shows
A little
up.
better? Okay.
I think I got it
Um,
already. Yeah.
Yeah, and you all can see, I know that there's a way to not share my actual, my actual browser, but I'm not sure how to do that. So, so we'll just have to share like this. Let me, let's see. Let me try to let's make it a little bit less busy. Okay, how's that? A little better? Okay, fantastic. So we are the Rocket Lab. Oh, boom, it went back to weird again. Okay, boom, let me see. There we go. Okay, so it's gonna be a little weird. I apologize. Yeah, it's gonna be a little wonky. Yeah, so just bear with me. So what we do at the Rocket Lab, so the Rocket Lab, we are a resource center for under-resourced entrepreneurs. And so in that, we serve entrepreneurs. Basically, our mission is to democratize entrepreneurship. So everything we do is to that end. We are not about leveling the playing field. We are absolutely about creating an entirely new playing field. And so this picture here gives you a really good kind of beginning understanding of what it is that we do here at the Rocket Lab. And so this was from one of our presentations about minority and women-owned certifications for businesses, and why that's such an important avenue for businesses to take in order to, again, democratize entrepreneurship. So Benito Lopez-Ibla, this is a quote of his about the Rocket Lab. Our thesis is that the right entrepreneurial ecosystem can interrupt cycles of intergenerational poverty and disrupt inequitable systems to create pathways for intergenerational wealth. And Benito Lopez-Ibla, he's our director, and this is his brainchild. This presentation is actually the presentation that he presented at our graduation of our first incubator class on June 2nd of this year. And we graduated 24 students who were part of a 12-week, and they were through the pandemic, stayed committed and graduated from a class of 30. We actually graduated 24. So that was really impressive for a program that had to switch back and forth between virtual and in person, through such a really trying time for everyone. And those businesses absolutely transformed. And it was a 12-week program that provided them technical assistance, mentorship, and guidance, access to capital for growing and developing their businesses, growing and scaling their businesses. So the mission of the Rocket Lab is to inspire, educate, and connect under-resourced entrepreneurs. And we actually like to say underestimated entrepreneurs, because we've seen countless times over and over that when you provide these under-resourced or these entrepreneurs with the actual tools that they need, the same tools that others receive, they do amazing things. So they're underestimated much more than just under-resourced. And so basically our mission is to inspire, educate, and connect under-resourced, underestimated entrepreneurs, and to create pathways for them to achieve economic mobility. Okay, so we actually operate based on a 3Ps philosophy, and this philosophy is actually adopted from our partner organization. So the Rocket Lab is a very unique organization, I guess. I'll say organization. It is a partnership between the Central Arkansas Library System and Advancing Black Entrepreneurship. And Advancing Black Entrepreneurship is Benito's organization, his nonprofit organization that supports Black entrepreneurship. And so this philosophy is actually adopted from Advancing Black Entrepreneurship philosophy of operation. So its purpose. So our purpose, again, is to democratize entrepreneurship in Arkansas. Not just here in Little Rock, but actually throughout all of Arkansas. So we just recently came back from a 3-day tour, and I represented Rocket Lab on that tour of the Delta. And so we visited 3 cities. We visited Helena, West Helena, El Dorado, and Pine Bluff. And we went there to have conversations with the stakeholders there, to look at the businesses, understand what their issues are, understand what the ecosystem is like in those places, so that we can start branching out and actually assisting in changing the ecosystems and creating new ecosystems in those places as well. People. We inspire and educate underestimated entrepreneurs to start, grow, and scale their businesses. This is really about those entrepreneurs and what we can do to help them create intergenerational wealth, and to change the systems that hold them back. We progress through a village mindset. So everything here at the Rocket Lab is about that support and that hope behind the entrepreneurs to be able to actually achieve, their goals. So we invest our expertise, our resources, and leverage our strategic partners to create meaningful, transformational, and measurable change. So we have many strategic partners, and that's one of the beautiful things about the partnership between CALS and Advancing Black Entrepreneurship, is that both organizations can bring their strategic partners together to be able to support these entrepreneurs in these really unique and different ways. So our core values here at the Rocket Lab are 3 C's. And so you have to have compassion, right? You have to have compassion to be able to understand these entrepreneur stories and where they're coming from and what their struggles and what their even what their triumphs are, the things that they have strengths in, the things that they are struggling and have weaknesses in. And you have to be able to listen and not just assume that you know the answer. You have to have courage, because a lot of these conversations are difficult conversations to have with the stakeholders and also with the policymakers. So, you have to be able to have, tough conversations. For instance, customer service is a really important part of a successful business. Well, sometimes we find that some of our entrepreneurs just don't have the customer service skills that they really need to be able to stand out in their business, to really, they might have an amazing product, but not have the ability to really connect with their customers because of some simple things that they need to change in their customer service experience. And so we need to be able to have the courage to have those difficult conversations with them. And then here in the ecosystem, we have to be able to stand up and have difficult conversations with policymakers. We know that we're working and operating within a broken system. And so we have to be able to stand up for our entrepreneurs and say, hey, well, these are the types of policies that actually, no matter what this business owner does to excel their business, they're going to hit this glass ceiling. And we all need to look at this glass ceiling and we need to change it. So you have to have courage to continue to have those conversations on both sides. And then you have to have curiosity. Like I said before, you can't come into this type of work assuming that you know what the problems are. There have been many organizations who've done that in the past, and this is why the needle hasn't moved forward. This is why things haven't changed on a larger scale in the way that we are, all of us hope for it to change. You really have to be able to go to those business owners and have the curiosity to understand really where they are coming from, and then to be able to think outside the box, to be able to come up with innovative and creative ways to serve their needs and to change the ecosystem. So the way that we work, we operate off of 4 C's. I'm going to cough. So our first C is knowledge capital. So we provide knowledge to our business owners about, just the ins and outs, the ABCs, the business 101. Oftentimes these business owners, they can be very, very skilled in the work that they do in their actual craft, but knowing how to actually run a business is what is the skill that they lack. And so providing that knowledge capital to them through technical assistance, one-on-one mentorship, through workshops, that's really what we provide. We also provide them financial capital. It is well known at this point that minority-owned businesses, Black-owned businesses are underestimated businesses. And for us here at the Rocket Lab, our target market is veterans, women, the Black community, and the Latinx community. So among Brown and Black and Brown people, you definitely see that financial access to capital is absolutely a barrier. And so that's one of the things that we use through our strategic partnerships, aligning these businesses when they're ready, and we get them ready for capital, to access capital, lining them up to be able to access that capital, and bringing in our strategic partners to be able to do that. Social capital, it is absolutely necessary to network, to collaborate with others, to see what's going on in the different places, different cities, different organizations. And so providing them that network to be able to expand their social networks is very, very important to the work that we do. We our second floor, which is our co-working space, we call it the village. And the reason why we call it the village is because we believe that it takes a village to raise a business, just like it takes a village to raise a child. And so that idea that it can be very lonely as a business owner. Oftentimes business owners or entrepreneurs are the only ones in their family or the only ones in their friend group doing the things that they're doing. So it's just very, very powerful and very impactful for them to be able to have a community around them of people that are doing the same thing, that are having the same, struggles and concerns, and just to have that community around them that can help them, get really excited when, when they have things to triumph, and to brainstorm with them when they have things that they're trying to move through. And hope capital. So, again, being a business owner can be a very lonely path. Oftentimes you can happen upon, you can get to a plateau and not really know how to move forward. I've been in the business world as an entrepreneur for about 20 years. And so I remember in my first forays into business, you get to a point, maybe you've read a bunch of books, maybe you've been to this seminar or that seminar, but just being able to sit down with somebody and know that you can be completely transparent with them about what's going on with your business, and learn and have that mentorship and have that guidance specific to what's happening with you and your business is very impactful again. And that's what's providing these business owners with hope to be able to know, that they can continue on. And then seeing other business owners successful, being able to see people a little bit further along than where they are, or having gone through the same things that they have, that hope capital is a very important part of what we instill here in the Rocket Lab. So the outcomes we seek are very simple. We seek 5 outcomes. We want to increase the number of underestimated entrepreneurs. We want to increase access to capital and to market. We want to scale businesses, and that means for us, that means to increase revenue and create jobs. We want to transform lives and communities. And as I mentioned before, we want to build that intergenerational wealth. So it's very important, and Benito talks a lot about that's how you change, you really change the lives of these entrepreneurs, is you help them to develop their businesses to the point where they're able to build intergenerational wealth, and not just wealth for that family, or not just, okay, we can pay the bills this month and we can pay the bills next month, but how can we create a legacy for our family and within our community? And so that's really one of our key outcomes, and really drives the work that we do. So this is inside our space. So we are super, super fortunate to have a beautiful building to operate out of. And it's absolutely one of our assets. So the Cox building, beautiful building on Library Square, is a 3-story building, and we've kind of occupied most of the floors of the building to serve our entrepreneurs. And so on our basement floor, we have our maker space. That's the picture in the middle. So what you're looking at in that picture in the middle is our sewing machine area. So for our textile artists, and one thing that we say is that we do not want starving artists. We want thriving artists. That's one of Benito's favorite quotes. And so this area said not just and this is really important to make note of, is that this is not for hobbyists. This is for people that are developing a business. So even if they're at the point where they don't have the skills yet, they still have to have in their mind that they want to create this as a business. And so here in the sewing machine area, we have 10 sewing machines, and I think we have 10 sewing machines and 2 embroidery machines. And so we'll be teaching classes on how to develop that skill into a professional level, and then how to actually do the business side of running that type of business. And then also we have an area for artists to paint and draw, and we have a screen printing machine and a 3D printer. So, all of this technology to be able to provide these artists with ways to develop and grow actual sustainable businesses. On our first floor, we have our river shop. Our river shop is our retail area. And so the pictures on the right are from our river shop. And that space is obviously, it's a retail shop for our entrepreneurs that have been through our programs or our mentorship. But more than that, is a training space. It's a training lab. So we teach them how to price their products, how to display their products. The customer service piece is very important. We have pop-ups, and this space is open on Saturdays from 10 until 4. So the entrepreneurs get to learn so much about that process of having a retail product in a storefront, and it teaches them and trains them, kind of develops them to be able to have their products in larger storefronts like the Walmarts, the Sam's Clubs, or even to decide if that's where they want their products. Maybe they want to be in smaller boutique spaces. But this is the space where they get to learn and get that proof of concept before they're actually having to go out there and pay for space and provide, large tens of thousands of orders, so this is their opportunity to kind of workshop that. And then on our second floor is the Village co-working space. That's the picture here on the right at the top. In our co-working space, as you see, it has tables and chairs and places for people to meet as a group or to sit alone and do their work. It's basically a space for entrepreneurs who don't have space at home, don't have office space. They're not at the point where they can rent office space, or that makes sense in their business plan or business model to rent office space, to be able to have an office space that they can come to and work collaboratively. We have a conference room that they can use. We also have a smart board and some other technology that they can use. There is a soundproof phone booth on that floor so they can have private conversations. Of course, we have a copy and print machine. So we provide them with this space all for free. That's the beautiful thing about being in the library system, is that all of our services are for free for our constituents, for our members. So it's a beautiful thing. And then Nathan, I don't know if you wanted to mention on the third floor that we still have.
Yeah, I'll also jump in that decision to be free was very intentional. Originally, we thought we might not be free. We might charge some memberships and something, but for some of these entrepreneurs, even that membership is going to be a barrier to them actually succeeding. And so we made a very intentional decision early on that part of our mission, we would provide everything for free. We do it by love and grants and donations. So I always say, if you have money you want to give to the Rocket Lab, please consider us. So, but that's intentional, because even those small amounts for some of our entrepreneurs, that's a barrier. So there's actually another floor to the building. The building has 3 floors, so basement, 4 floors, I guess. And that's still a CAL space. The Rocket Lab occupies the bottom part, except for Benito's office, which is up on that top floor. But it's an event space. So we have meetings there. We have historically had them. It's a very nice event space with a large meeting room with AV systems, plus sort of an outer atrium sort of area and a kitchen. And we actually rent it. And so it's one of our spaces, you have to pay a couple $100, I think it is now, to use it. And we want it to be rented all the time, because half of the money goes back to the Rocket Lab and half the money goes to CAL's programming. So one of the things we're really trying to do is make the Rocket Lab itself a revenue generating component of our system. So we're looking at ways that it can give revenue back to the library and to actually extend the work or fund itself, so that we have more money for it. But if you're coming to Little Rock and want to have an event, we have a great space for you.
Thank you, Nathan. No, let's wait. So let's talk about our impact. Okay, so this slide is actually as of June. So this was a slide that was associated with our graduation. So these numbers have absolutely increased. So we're probably to about 500 entrepreneurs served, 80% being women. We have over 500 program participants, more than that now. Our program participants, these are people who have participated in our Beyond the Ideas program. So we had a lot of virtual programming during the pandemic. Beyond the Idea is a program where we have a conversation with a small business owner to talk about their journey, talk about the things that were challenges for them and how they overcame those challenges, the things that that they've done well in their business and where they see themselves going. The feedback I've gotten from that is so awesome, where it has inspired people to start their businesses. That's been really amazing. Also, we've had technical assistant programs for the public. So, programs about, like I said, the certification class was open to the public. We had a class on intellectual property, on cost and balance sheets. So we provide those technical assistance classes as well to the public for them to begin to get that information. Over 1,000, we're probably at 1,500 consulting hours at this point. The consulting hours are one-on-one conversations, so one-on-one consulting hours, consultations where these business owners are getting one-on-one detailed information, answers to their questions. meeting with experts, for us being able to facilitate the meetings with the experts that they need to be able to move their businesses forward. As I said before, we graduated 24 people from 24 businesses from the Business Incubator Program in June, and we just welcomed 20 new businesses into the second cohort of our incubator program, which started on Tuesday. So it's very exciting times. Oh, go ahead.
I'm going to toot our horn a little bit more here. So the
Okay.
actual physical Rocket Lab facility has been open just a little over a year and 3 months. And Benito has done, some of the business academy and stuff beforehand before we became the partnership of the Rocket Lab. So it predates that a little bit in terms of, but the physical space has been open a little over a year, and we've done just an amazing, these guys have done an amazing job. I'm sorry, cry. But it's amazing what we've done in such a short period of time. We also have a success problem. Our second incubator class, we got 20 in, we had 240 applicants. Nothing in Central Arkansas gets this number of applicants, not things that have been here for years. So we were really reaching the community. We were really making a difference, and people are beginning to come to us. So we got to figure out what to do with those folks that didn't get an incubator class now. We're working on ideas for them, but just a little more, toot that horn.
Thank you, Nathan. I absolutely appreciate it. And the priceless, the priceless impact absolutely is the hope, the sense of ownership, and the freedom that these entrepreneurs are, that we've been able to facilitate instilling within them. Each of these people here, so this is the incubator class that graduated. They can tell you, just how they feel, how the Rocket Lab and this experience in the incubator program, and even people who've gone through mentorship, any of our programs, been able to sit down with consultations. They really have been feeling the impact. You really do see it, the transformation in their businesses, in their mindset, and how they think about their business and how they think about what's possible. So, I can toot our horn a little bit that I feel like we're doing really good work. So. All right, so this is one of Benito's favorite quotes, and it is absolutely true. If you want to travel fast, travel alone. If you want to travel far, travel together. And that's what we are doing in this partnership, and that's what we're doing here in Central Arkansas. So thank you very much. That's what we hope to do with you all. All right, I think Benito is still around. I don't know if he wants to say anything, but I absolutely want to give him the opportunity if he'd like. And then I guess we would open up the floor for questions, right? I can't see. Oh, probably should stop sharing my screen also. Because I was going to say that I can't see.
You can see a little better.
Okay.
Zoom does better than Teams.
It's much better experience than Teams, definitely. All right. So I don't know. I was saying, Benito, if you wanted to say anything, or if we just wanted to jump right into questions. Benito shook his head no. So I'm going to take that to mean that I did a great job. Thanks.
I'm okay, but maybe just to add one thing which we provide here is we have a very unique loan product, which we call Imani Fund. So Imani Fund, access to capital is extreme. It's a major challenge for many entrepreneurs. So we have created this Imani Fund. In the Imani Fund, really, we don't ask for collateral. We don't ask for credit, your credit score. We just look at your business model. And in that portfolio, we have about $1 million. And we started that last year in August. Right now, we have deployed more than $400,000 to underestimated entrepreneurs. So that's a major thing, because not only we provide the space in terms of knowledge-wise, but providing the financial capital is extremely important. And plus, with our partners, we have also we give grants, especially my organization. We give grants between $1,000 to $5,000 every month. And we have supported a lot of businesses. I'll give one example. One of our graduates from the incubator in June, he was in prison for 20 years. He came out of the prison. And as you know, it's very difficult if you come from prison The system does not even give you a first chance, no second chance. There's no chance for you to get a job. So he joined our program, and he was one of our best students. He won our business competition, and we provide him with equipment for his business worth about $7,000. I was just checking the number of how his business is doing a few minutes ago before this meeting. He's making minimum of $5,000 per month. And that's a game changer. And for the first time in his life, he has his own apartment. And what we did in this program, and this was coming from my organization, we decided to pay for his apartment for the whole year. That's a game changer. His life has transformed. And because of that, he wants to give back. He wants to help other people who are who have been, the system has put them in the position where really they cannot move forward. I just want to add what Ria said, that we are really not in the business of trying to level the playing field. We want to build a new system which is more just and more equitable. Poverty is a cruel thief of dreams. It steals people's dreams. And what we are doing here is we are committed to disrupting intergenerational poverty by creating pathway for economic mobility through business ownership.
There's some questions in the chat, and I told Lee I was not going to cry this time, but every time I hear that kind of story, I start crying. So, but Leah, but he didn't tell you is that the guy that was just so good at the first year, he was in a homeless shelter the entire time. So he's gone from there to this, and he's just a joy. He's a delight. I have to cry. It's hard to come to our graduation sessions. You'll cry. It's wonderful.
And I want to
joyful tears.
And I want to add one thing, because this is extremely important, especially for our library here. The people who are facing homelessness, most of them, they use the library. Mm-hmm. In this new incubator program, we have the person who was facing homelessness is part of this program. And that's why it's open. The same way the libraries has been great in terms of democratize information and knowledge, we want to do the same thing in terms of democratize this space for anybody. It doesn't matter where you're coming from. Your zip code, your race, your class should not be defined your future, your life future, or your dreams. So instead of burying people's dreams, we are really planting the seed of their dreams here. That's why the Hope Capital is major here, because once you come here, we have a village approach where we really inspire you. There's hope in this space. And once people, they feel they have hope, and Leah, she mentioned entrepreneurship is very lonely enterprise. And once we create a space where they can even fail, but if they fail, they know there's a village support them. Because to me, failure is one of the best university. You know, as long as you take that failure as a feedback, you can really change. And as an entrepreneur myself, I've been in business for more than 22 years. I know you're gonna fail. It's just a matter of when. But when you fail, if you have the village to support you, you're in better position to succeed.
And we like our entrepreneurs also to give back and come back and give to the facility. So there were some questions in the chat. I can tackle some of them. One of them early on was, did we purchase or lease the building? We own the building. So back in the 90s, we purchased just a large area, a whole block in a sort of abandoned area of downtown Little Rock before the Clinton Library came here, by the way. So we were the first. And it's when we're in an old hardware warehouse is where we are now for our main library. We have a surface lot. We actually have a parking deck. We're the largest land or real estate owner in the River Market District in Little Rock right now. So the Cox building was our former bookstore. We have a couple of revenue generating departments, 3 really. Our bookstore, we have a gallery, retail gallery, and art gallery, and a theater, full-scale theater. I'm over those. The bookstore, to actually make money, we needed to do some restructuring and merging, so we're working on that still. But we merged the bookstore and the galleries and moved the bookstore out of the Cox building. It occupied the entire Cox building. And At that time, we actually had built a facility on the 5th floor to have for the Rocket Lab. And I said, you know, well, we have this lovely building now that's available. And Benito and one of our benefactors looked at it and said, this is the home of the Rocket Lab. And it was absolutely the best choice. So it's a gorgeous building, and they transformed it. If you'd seen it before, compared to it now. So we do own it. We do have a property tax exemption. So with our partnership, we had to be careful about structuring that properly so we can keep our property tax exemption. So, but it's our building, and we bought it some time ago. There's who are the teachers for your classes? Is it library staff or someone else? Benito or Leah, you want to take that one?
Yeah, so most of the teacher for incubator program, they are entrepreneurs. We realize to us, these are startups, and we want somebody who has done. We didn't want somebody who just come and do that a theory. We want people who have done it. So all our instructors, including myself, we are entrepreneurs. And our approach is learn by doing. So really, when you come to our class, this entrepreneur, they work from the day one. They are working on their business. And we also combine doctor-patient approach. So because every business is different. So not only we provide the class, lectures, but also we work one-on-one with each entrepreneur because each business has different needs.
I'll say, we try to match like the entrepreneurs that come in with the mentors. We've looked at some software to kind of make that happen algorithmically. We haven't quite gotten there yet, but we really try to work on this one-on-one approach. We have another math tutoring program that does something similar with math. Help, yeah.
That's very important. I forgot to mention, it's a mentorship-driven program. So mentors, they play a major role in our program.
And not just everyone can be a mentor. We talked about this a lot. You have to both be able to know what you're doing and be able to pass that on, which that's the part that sometimes people don't have good skills at doing. So it's important they be able to pass it on in a meaningful way to someone else. 2 questions about the Imani Fund, Benito, and I'll let you talk a bit about that. So how much capital we loan? You mentioned it earlier, we might reiterate. And also, where did that come from? How did the Imani Fund come to be? And this is a Benito story.
Oh,
wonderful story.
The money come to be because I've been working with special Black entrepreneurs for a while, for more than 5 years. And I've supported more than 1,000 Black entrepreneurs in the last 5 years. And I've seen that there's a challenge in terms of access to capital. I always say I've seen many dreams of these entrepreneurs die at the parking lot of the financial institutions. So I came with this concept. I say, okay, how can you ask the person who does not have money to show you money so you can give them money? I say these people, because of systemic racism, they don't have money. They don't have assets. And then because of that, they don't even have good credit scores. So they pay their phone bills, maybe they pay their rent, which sometimes the system does not capture that. So I say we need to find a way where we can give loans, microloans, without asking those 2 things, which I call them the economic red lines. So how do I find money? I went to some people who have, I believe they have, they like my concept. They like what I'm doing. I say, I need about $1 million. They say, why? I say, but you are not giving this money as a grant. This is an impact investors. You put the money and with a very low interest rate. So they give money. I don't want to go in details. They say 1% interest rate they get. And then we give that money 5% maximum. It's not more than 5%. 5% interest rate. And the first 6 months, they just pay only interest. And the great things about this program is, so we partner with another CDFI. Most of the time, the underwriters of the loans, they have never met these businesses. They look at the papers. So in this program, I am at the table when the underwriter, they are making decisions. I am representing this business. I say, I know this business. I'll give you a good example. The first person we gave a microloan, the second, I think it was the second or third. He filed for bankruptcy about 3-4 years ago. And there's no financial institution that will give you money because of that. But we end up giving the money. And as I'm speaking now, he has doubled the number of his employees. He was only 2 employees, now he has 4 employees. He has expanded his business is growing. So for me, in the money fund, really, we don't look at your past relationship with money. We don't want your past relationship with money define you. We are looking what you have now, your business model, and then from there, that's how we determine if you are eligible to get the loan. For those people who they don't have good business model and they found out we know that they cannot execute, we don't give them loan. So we make sure that they're ready to get the loan. And with my experience, work with other CDFI through our program, no single person has default so far. And we hope they will not default. But so far, so good.
And just to finish that, that's not part of the library budget. It's a part of our partner activities. We have a lot of partners. And in fact, the library, we developed a very structured memorandum of understanding to develop the Rocket Lab and what the library would provide, what ABE would provide. So Leah, in fact, is a library employee. Benito is with ABE, and we pay Leah. We pay them both through a grant from the Small Business Administration. Thank you, Small Business Administration, for the next couple of years, and then we'll go from there. There's strings attached to that, of course. So that's why we know so many hours that we've done for consulting. So we do it that way. The library, actually, all we provide the building. We provide all the necessary services, utilities, internet, that kind of good stuff for the Rocket Lab. So the basic services. And that's about all the funding we provide. We agreed to pay Leah. And we managed to get a grant to do that. And we actually, the MOU says we're going to try to pay you, Benito. So thank God we can pay him now. And the budget, I tell people the budget is 0, and we do it because we love it and we believe it's the right thing to do. I'll just also point out we have basically 2.5 staff for this facility, and we really have to rely on our partners. So the SBA, ASPTDC here in Little Rock, I've got the list here, Entergy, Innovation Hub, Communities Unlimited, Mosaic Templars Cultural Center, Southern Bancorp, Rockefeller Foundation, Winrock, and Forge, Community Capital. It's like doing the Oscars. I can't let anybody go by it without it. But we have a lot of partners, and that's how it's a village. We're not doing this on our own. We cannot do it on our own. We have to rely on them. So the other question was about the incubator class. How long does that last? How many classes per week and per month?
So in incubator class is that's 12 weeks. We meet every week on Tuesdays between 6 p.m. and 8 p.m. And
on that top floor, usually.
But I think one of the things which I think is good about the class is to bring those entrepreneurs start working together. So we make sure that they are committed to the program. So we pair them with another entrepreneur where they have to meet themselves also. So it's 1 week, but they have to meet with the mentors. They have to meet with me at least once a week. I have to look at their progress. We look at especially the first class in our incubator class is about financial statements. We just realized most of the entrepreneurs who are coming to our program, almost 80 to 90% of them, really, they don't know anything about cash flow statement, balance sheet, income statement. And if you're in business, if you don't know about numbers, if you really don't know about how the money works, you cannot win this game. Entrepreneurship is the number game. And most of them don't understand. But another thing is we like to shift their mindset in terms of their relationship with money. Money is just a tool. How do you use that money, that tool, to make sure that you become successful? So besides just only education, we are really help them to shift their mindset, even in terms from the difference between income to asset. To understand, you have to understand the balance sheet if you really want to build asset. So we help them in that stage, and most of them they're the first one in their family to start a business. So they really don't know anything about financial education. So we really put emphasis in that space on the financial education and help them to really understand how can they really use the business to transform their lives and their families.
I'll say we also try to use the Rocket Lab businesses think we should be doing Shop Rocket Lab. That's what my thing. If you get a little sticker, if you use Rocket Lab businesses, we try to use them at the Rocket Lab. We try to use the businesses when we need services for events and things. And we also promote businesses at the library. We have some, library staff that do work on this sort of thing. But we decided to create a staff business directory because we have a lot of staff that are entrepreneurs, and we have them listed, and we can recommend them to you for various services. It's all on our intranet. And in fact, one of our branch managers is going to be in the second paper class. Yay! Tina shared, invited in. So we're very proud of that. And so we try to promote it even within the library as well, using our local businesses, shopping local, doing things to support the community and really make it grow, because that's what we're trying to do, is really replace the entire business ecosystem. It's a little bit ambitious, but we're doing it. So.
I'm going to say this. I know we are out of time, but you just mentioned about the shop. We do pop-up shop, and the last one we did within 4 hours, our entrepreneur made more than $7,000 within 4 hours. We have another one coming up in November 26th. But in those pop-up shop is part of education. So they learn about pricing, they learn about marketing, and we have people who are watching them. And the one who provide the best customer service, we also give them a little bit of money, maybe $300, $400. We also do pitch competition. In our pitch competitions, where we give $5,000 to the winner. So we have a lot of program, but at the end of the day, I think we have create a space where really entrepreneur, they can feel welcome the same way the libraries have done. I mentioned this, most of our entrepreneurs, they are coming from the place where they are, you can call under-resourced, underserved communities, and they're trying to come out of poverty. And so for us to really be able to help them in terms of economic mobility is really something which we are passionate about it. People, they say money cannot make you, cannot bring you happiness, cannot make you happy, but the lack of money can cause physical and mental problems and stress. And we see every single day to the entrepreneurs, we are helping them. And if we can start changing their lives, I think we, library, as partner Rocky Rab, I think we are doing something better for our community, because if women, if Latinx, if veterans, if Blacks, they are doing good in the community, it's good for everybody.
I think, and Yasmin has her hand up. I don't know if you got all the questions in the chat. I think so. So then one more.
Thanks, Megan. Thanks so much, Leah, for the great talk. It's been really lovely to learn about what's going on in Little Rock. I guess my question is, as someone who's thought a fair amount about entrepreneurship within the context of Pittsburgh, where I'm situated, which has a unique industrial history with the steel industry, the blight of the caused after the steel industry has left, and then sort of like the recuperation that Pittsburgh has been going through to diversify the economies here. And I guess I'm curious if you could speak a little bit about the unique historical context of Little Rock and perhaps how this fosters this entrepreneurial drive. I mean, the statistics that you were sharing are astounding, just how many people you have served with this program in such a short period of time. So I guess, yeah, I'm curious if there's any tie to the historical context, the labor context of Little Rock. I'd love to learn more. Thank you.
I don't know a whole lot about that context, maybe Benito and Leah can, but I can tell you that we are somewhat unique. We try to find comparable libraries to see how we're doing, and it's challenging because we're not really urban. Little Rock's a little town. It's a city, but it's a little town. So everybody kind of knows everybody. That's not entirely true, but it's fairly small, fairly compact. It's quite rural. I mean, the minute you get within about 15 minutes, you're in farmland, and it's very poor. We have a lot of poverty. We have a lot of lack of access to transportation, to devices. We don't have infrastructure that other people do. I can tell you there's a neighborhood I could walk to it within about 30 minutes, and literally you can't get broadband there. So it's one Benito works with quite a bit. So you simply can't get broadband access. So hotspots are crazy popular here. We check those out. So we have some unique things. The education level tends to be low. Hence our math tutoring program to try to improve math scores in the area. A lot of poverty, access, a lot of loss, or a lot of lack of access to things that you might take for granted in other areas that are a bit more wealthy. We're very poor. We say thank God for Mississippi, but really Arkansas, we're pretty poor. So we're trying to work on those things too, and Benito works in a lot of those areas. So the historical context, I don't know, Benito or Leah, if you know more. I'm not a history guy, but it's a unique area in some aspects because we're not particularly urban, maybe like Pittsburgh, which is much more urban. I love Pittsburgh, by the way, lovely.
I'm going to defer to Benito on this one because I don't have that historical context either.
Here's where you should talk to our director, Nate Coulter. He's a historian and a lawyer.
Yeah.
He can talk about this for long.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of things with Little Rock, of course, up to Central High. I mean, there is a lot of racial issues that have been here in the past. There's a lot of white flight. I think Sling County, south of us, is the least diverse county in the U.S. I've heard things like that. Yes, but I think not. So there's a lot of history of that. It's still right maybe this far into the surface, I'm just gonna say, and making a comeback. So it's a fairly conservative area politically, although we're a bit of the blue county and the whole state of red. Not to go step on toes, but it's true. And it's just a lot going on here that's challenging sometimes for us.
I think to me, let me see. To me, I think the history of here, Central Arkansas, is the history of America. It doesn't matter where you are. Especially for us, we work with a lot of Black entrepreneurs. I think the 400 years of systemic racism is still, you can see the results, what we are trying to fight. Because this is not an individual, it's a systemic problem. And you can see it how there's a certain group of people, the economic has worked well for them, and they have been able to accumulate wealth. And you can see the other group of people, like Black, the system has distracted wealth from them or has put barriers for them to create a wealth. And that's why for me, in this I'm going to talk for just myself, but for me, I believe that try to level the playing field, the effort we are trying to level the playing field is not working. I think we need to start reimagining a new playing field. It's like if you have a house or a car, every time there's a problem with that house, sometimes you come to a point where you say, I think you need to buy a new house or you need to buy a new car. So to me, I think we need to reimagine and build a new economic system or entrepreneur ecosystem, which is more equitable and just for everybody. Because right now, the system works for some other people, but it doesn't work for everybody. And so if you put in the historical context, the history of here is the history of America. And that's what it is. It doesn't matter, you're in Oakland, you're in Detroit, you are in Atlanta, you are in Little Rock, the history of America is the same.
Thank you so much, Leah, Nathan, Benito, and everyone for joining. I dropped the exit ticket in the chat. It takes 1 minute to just fill out and let us know. This is also a great way to let me know if you're interested in presenting in a future meeting, or if you have an idea for a topic you'd like to hear more about, and I can look for a speaker or facilitator. This was so fun and so inspiring. So thank you so much, Nathan, Leah, Benito again. I love the Rocket Lab. I do want to come visit you guys. So cool. And I hope you'll all connect with one another on Slack. As I always plug, please join us on Slack. There's a lot of great crossover with what Rocket Lab is doing, with what some of our other libraries are doing. Carly, I was thinking about Baltimore County's pop-up shops, and Adam, I was thinking about your work with the returning citizens, and Andrea. So talk to one another. I'd love to make some more connections for everyone. It's 4:30, so if
And
people
come
need to
visit.
jump off- and come visit. If people need to hop off, feel free. I will keep the line open for a couple minutes if anyone wants to chat with me or has questions. And we'll see you in November. Thank you again.
Thank you, Megan. You all have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.